Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. The straw wrapper was the first thing that set me off. Not the text. Not her excuse. Not even the time on the clock. It was the wrapper. See, Della always chews on the end of her straw wrappers. Always has. It's a little nervous tick she does whenever she's flirting. She crumples it, then starts nibbling the edges while twirling her hair. You'd miss it if you didn't know her like I do. That's why I noticed it sitting on the cafe table 2 booths over. She said she was meeting a client for lunch across town. Said the place didn't have parking, and no, I didn't need to drive her. She even added one of those fake chuckles, like the very idea of me tagging along was absurd. I believed her, until I stopped into that tiny cafe on York Street, just to grab a coffee and sit alone for a while. I do that sometimes when my head's too loud. What are the odds, right? What are the odds I'd walk into the one place in the city where my wife was sitting across from a guy I'd never seen before? And she wasn't even hiding. They were tucked into a corner booth, drinks half finished, laughing like they were the last 2 people on earth. And right there, on the edge of the table, her crumpled straw wrapper, shredded and bent like it had been through a paper war. I didn't confront her, didn't shout or cry or throw anything. I just stared, like I was watching someone else's life fall apart, not mine. And then I got this idea. Cold, clean, final. I left, walked 4 blocks to a craft store of all places, bought a blank tag and a red marker, sat on a park bench and wrote 5 words. Do not come home, ever. Went back to the cafe, waited outside until she got up to use the restroom. Then I walked straight in and dropped the tag in her purse like I was delivering a package. The barista smiled at me. I smiled back. Nobody knew what I'd just done. But the real chaos didn't start until 2 hours later. Because what she did next wasn't just selfish. It was something else entirely. It was disgusting. I thought that was it. Done. Finished. I walked home after slipping the note into her purse like some broken-hearted ghost, expecting silence to follow. Maybe tears. Maybe an apology. Maybe she'd never come back at all. Any of those would have been acceptable. Any of them would have been human. But instead, she did something I could never have predicted. She posted the note online. I was lying on the couch, still wearing the hoodie that smelled like coffee and panic, when my phone buzzed. My sister-in-law, Nora, sent me a message with nothing but a screenshot and a WTF. The image showed my note, my exact handwriting, on some Instagram story, next to a latte and a croissant. Della had captioned it. My husband finally found some courage. Adorable, right? With a laughing emoji. A laughing emoji. I didn't know what to feel first. Humiliation, rage, or just that hollow ache in your chest when something breaks but makes no noise. I sat up, reading the caption over and over like maybe it would change. Like the words would rearrange themselves into something less vile. But nope. She mocked me, publicly. My private heartbreak had become part of her social media performance. The story got shared. People commented. One of her followers even joked, "Don't come home? Girl, I wouldn't either if I had that muffin and that view." Another wrote, "He sounds dramatic. Tell him to take a nap." I didn't even know these people, and yet they were already siding with her, as if my pain was just entertainment. She hadn't called, hadn't texted, didn't even ask what the note meant. She just turned it into content. I paced the living room, my mind spiraling. Was this just a joke to her? Had it always been? Did she feel anything real anymore, or was everything just a story for her followers to react to? Then came the worst moment. She tagged the cafe. She tagged the exact location. And in the next photo, she posted a selfie with him. She wrote, "Some endings are beginnings in disguise, red heart." I dropped my phone. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the kitchen, lights off, staring at the floor like it might give me answers. My phone was still lying face down on the carpet where I'd dropped it. I couldn't bring myself to pick it up. I didn't want to see if she'd posted more, or if the comments section had turned uglier. I was afraid to see people laughing at me. Again. By sunrise, I'd made one decision. I was going to leave the apartment. Just for a bit. Get out of my head. Clear the fog before I did something stupid like call her. I grabbed my keys, wallet, a hoodie, and left without even locking the door behind me. Why would I? She clearly wasn't coming back to our home. She had him now. I wandered aimlessly for hours. I walked past bookstores, past the park where we once slow danced barefoot during a thunderstorm like we were in some indie movie. I ended up in front of my brother's place but didn't knock. Couldn't. I didn't want to explain anything yet. Not until I had some sort of plan that didn't involve crying into someone else's couch cushions. Around noon, I worked up the nerve to head back. As I approached our building, I saw her car parked right in front of the entrance. A fresh parking ticket was tucked under her wiper, like the universe had finally sided with me. I climbed the stairs slowly, half hoping she was inside, crying, begging, apologizing. But the door wouldn't open. At first I thought maybe the key jammed. I tried again. Still nothing. That sick, rising heat spread through my chest. I knocked. No answer. Then I heard it, footsteps inside. She was there. I knocked louder. Della, it's me. Silence. Then the lock clicked, but not to open. Clicked again. She double-locked it. Della, open the door. What are you doing? Through the door, I heard her voice. Calm. As cold. You told me not to come home. So I didn't. I made it mine again. I stood there, stunned. You can have your drama, Boaz, she said. But you don't get to control the ending. Then she played music. Loud. Like I didn't exist. And for the first time I realized maybe she really wished I didn't. I didn't move for a long time. I just stood outside the apartment door like some discarded package. I could hear her laughing inside. Laughing. Whether it was at a show, a video, or at me, I couldn't tell. But it didn't matter. I wasn't welcome anymore. My home, my furniture, my life. All of it was now behind a door that no longer opened for me. Eventually, someone from down the hall walked by, gave me a pitiful look, and asked if I was locked out. I muttered something about forgetting my keys, just to make them go away. The truth was too embarrassing to say out loud. My wife had literally locked me out of our life. I left, trying not to look like I was falling apart in slow motion. But I was. Every step felt like I was dragging an invisible weight behind me. I wandered again. I couldn't go to my brother's place. I didn't want to explain why I smelled like stress and rejection. I ended up crashing in my car, parked 2 blocks away, wrapped in the same hoodie I'd been wearing for 2 days. That night, I stared at the roof of my Honda, wondering how I had gone from being her husband to being an outsider in my own story. The next morning, I returned. Not because I had hope, but because I had nowhere else to go. I figured I'd wait until she left and try to get inside, maybe grab a few things. My laptop, clothes, my dignity if it was still hiding somewhere in the closet. But when I got there, she'd already left something for me. A cardboard box was sitting on the doorstep. One of those cheap moving boxes from the dollar store. On the side, in black marker, she'd written, Boaz's stuff, smiley face and all. Inside were exactly 3 items. A bundle of socks, a half-used stick of deodorant, and my childhood photo album. That was it. No clothes, no toothbrush, no explanation. She didn't pack my laptop. She didn't even give me my phone charger. But the most insulting part? Taped to the top of the box was a note. Not handwritten. Typed. Closure is a gift. You're welcome. That's when it hit me. She wasn't confused or conflicted. She was celebrating. And I had no idea why. I didn't open the photo album right away. I just sat with the box on my lap in the back seat of my car, parked behind an old laundromat. It still smelled faintly like her, coconut shampoo and something floral I could never name. The socks were balled together like she couldn't be bothered to unroll them. The deodorant was the wrong brand. I hadn't used that one in months. It was like she grabbed the first things within reach just to make the box look full. But the photo album, that cut deep. It wasn't just any album. It was the one we made on our 2nd anniversary. She called it Us in Color because we'd printed every memory on thick, glossy paper and labeled each one with inside jokes in gel pen. Our first terrible meal together. Our trip to Santa Fe where I got food poisoning. That weird picture of us dancing under a gas station awning during a rainstorm at 2 a.m. Now it sat in a cardboard box like trash she couldn't quite bring herself to throw away. I needed a distraction. Anything to stop the loop in my head from playing. She locked me out. She mocked me. She's not coming back. I grabbed my phone, 6% battery, and decided to check our shared bank account. Maybe to see if she'd used it recently. Maybe just to feel like I still had a piece of something we built together. And then I saw it. $3,800. Gone. From a transaction 2 days ago. It wasn't a transfer. It was a payment to a travel agency. I clicked the transaction. The agency's name was familiar. It was the same one we'd used to plan our honeymoon to Belize. But this charge wasn't to cancel anything. It was for a 2-person romantic getaway. 5 nights. All-inclusive. Departure next week. The booking had her name on it. And someone else's. Not the man from the cafe. Someone else. A name I didn't recognize. That's when my throat closed up. My phone buzzed again. A new email. I opened it with shaking hands. Subject line. Booking confirmation. Happy travels. Della. And at the bottom, a note in the comments section. Special request. Sunset dinner on arrival night. It's a surprise for him. That's when I knew. She wasn't just done with me. She was celebrating her escape with someone new. And somehow she was using our money to do it. I sat there in the car for what felt like an hour. My head spinning. My wife. No. I can't even call her that anymore. Della had drained our joint account to fund a romantic escape with someone I'd never even heard of. It wasn't just cheating. It was erasing me. It was rewriting our marriage like it was some boring first draft of a story she'd decided to start over with someone more. Interesting. I should have called the bank. Froze the card. Called a lawyer. But instead, I found myself unlocking my laptop, desperately trying to feel in control of something. Anything. I remembered we used to back up our phones to the same shared cloud. It was lazy convenience at the time, but now it felt like my last thread of truth. To my surprise, she hadn't disabled it. Either she forgot or she didn't care. So I went looking, and what I found made the air leave my lungs. The photo roll had over 200 new images I'd never seen. Some of them weeks old. Selfies of Della in a mirror I didn't recognize. Beach shots. Lingerie shots. One in a hotel room with rose petals scattered on the bed. Another with her holding a wine glass between her legs while laughing into the camera. But the worst part? She wasn't alone in them. There were pictures of her with him. Not the man from the cafe. This new one. Same guy from the booking confirmation. He had his arm around her in one, kissing her forehead in another. She looked radiant, almost unrecognizably happy. And then I saw the video. It started with her whispering to the camera, "He still thinks I'm with my cousin this weekend," followed by a wicked smile. Then the camera turned to him. They were in a tub together. My stomach turned. I didn't watch the rest. Couldn't. But there was something else, an audio file. Played it. It was her voice. "Once the money clears, I'll be done. He's too soft to fight back. He'll fold. He always folds." That's how she saw me. Not as her husband. As an obstacle she'd already beaten. And for the first time, I wasn't just heartbroken. I was angry. I didn't sleep again. Sleep felt like a luxury reserved for people who weren't being emotionally gutted by the one person they trusted most. I lay in the back of my car, staring at the ceiling, replaying her voice in that recording on loop. "He'll fold. He always folds." Maybe she was right. Maybe that's who I'd become. The guy who flinched instead of fought back. The guy who got walked over because he confused patience with strength. I hated how true it felt. But that morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I stood up for myself, quietly. I remembered something Della once told me in passing. That her job at the branding agency had a no fraternization clause. She'd laughed about it back then, mocking the rule as a dinosaur policy. But it was in her contract. I'd helped her read through it when she got the job. So I dug through our shared email archive and found the contract. There it was, in black and white. Any romantic or sexual relationship with a client or business partner was grounds for immediate termination. Guess who her new getaway boyfriend was? one of the firm's biggest clients. I recognized his name from an invoice she forwarded me months ago when she forgot how email threads work. I had everything I needed. I didn't send revenge porn. I didn't scream or expose anything inappropriate. I wrote a professional, sterile email to her boss. No emotion, no name-calling, just facts. Dates, screenshots of the hotel reservation, and a photo of her holding hands with the client at a venue sponsored by the firm. I signed it anonymously. It wasn't about getting her fired. It was about popping the bubble she thought she was floating in, untouchable, smug, laughing behind my back. And just like that, within 24 hours, it happened. I didn't hear from Della, but I got the email. Not meant for me, of course. She forwarded it by accident while rage emailing someone else. Subject line: "You need to explain this immediately." Her boss had seen everything. And Della? She was scrambling. She didn't know I was behind it. Not yet. 3 days after the email bomb dropped, I got a text from an unknown number. It was short. Just, "We need to talk. Please. I'm outside." I didn't recognize the number, but I didn't need to. I looked through the window of the small apartment I'd rented with what was left in my savings. And there she was, Della, standing on the front steps, wearing the same coat I bought her last winter. I didn't move. She knocked. Not hard, like she didn't even believe she deserved to be heard. And for once, I didn't scramble. I didn't panic. I didn't fold. I sat on my couch in my own place, breathing. A few seconds later, I heard her footsteps retreat. No apology left. No grand speech. Just silence. The same silence she used to punish me when I asked her to spend more time at home. I didn't chase her. Instead, I stood up and unpacked the last item from the moving box she'd thrown at my feet a week earlier. The photo album. Us in color. I flipped through it for the last time, then gently placed it in the trash. Not out of hate, out of closure. In the days that followed, something strange started happening. I began remembering who I was before I met her. I started eating real food again. I reconnected with my brother. I even applied for a job across the country. A fresh start. No shared accounts. No silent treatment. No being treated like a burden someone forgot to throw away. Last night, I got an email that my resume had been selected for final interviews. Felt small, but it meant everything. Because for the first time in years, the future didn't feel like something I had to survive. It felt like something I was allowed to build. And her? She still doesn't know it was me who exposed her. But it doesn't matter anymore. She knocked. I didn't answer. And that silence? It was finally mine. What was the most shocking moment for you? The fake closure box? The travel receipt? Or when she used his kindness against him? Tell us in the comments below. We read every one. You've been watching Reddit Confessions. Subscribe for more real, raw stories like this. And always remember, silence can be the loudest answer of all.